2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Power BI developers to work on one Power BI project, one particular file, right? And they'll be able to collaborate and they'll be able to make changes and also sync the changes, to their cloud repo. So this is like a beginner class to uh, version control. So for at the beginning, I'm going to go through like a little slide, that would just introduce version control to us. And after that, then I will go straight into the practical parts. I'm also trying to make sure that I manage time so that we can leave here, as fast as possible, so that we can enjoy you can enjoy the weekend. Okay, let's
Yeah.
go ahead. So I'm going to be sharing my screen now. Just give me a minute, guys, and I'm going to ask you whether you can see my screen. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so guys, um, thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to be here. It's something that I really appreciate. I'm a community person, and I always like at every given opportunity to always, you know, share what I know, the little that I know, with other people, so that everybody can learn and we can all grow together, right? That's the essence of community. So once again, my name is Gbenga Adeyemo. A senior data analyst. I'm a Microsoft MVP. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I'm also a Microsoft certified Power BI data analyst associate, and I currently lead three communities. Some people might wonder how am I doing it. I'm currently the community lead for the Winnipeg Power Platform User Group. I'm also the community lead for it's still a new community anyway for the Winnipeg Fabric and Power BI User Group, and also Data Jobs Ninja, right? And I have more than 5 years of work experience. I'm a technical trainer. I've been training people now for, let me say, since 2020, 2019 year about. And I can say that if I should combine trade and, paid and community trainings, I've at least impacted more than 3,000 people, right? And I've worked across several sectors such as healthcare, manufacturing, retail, logistics. And I've been able to deploy different solutions in data analytics, and my technical expertise in Power BI, Microsoft Fabric, Excel, SQL, SSIS, AS, and the likes. So that is just me. Well, that's not the reason why we are here today anyway. We are here for something serious, and which is version control. And some people might wonder how possible can two two or more people work on the same Power BI file, or how can people collaborate? How is version control even possible in Microsoft Fabric, right? We are going to explore these two parts. And before we dive into the practical section, I'm going to just give, sorry guys, just give you like you know, some basic background. So let me say some theoretical foundation of what we're about to do today. So when we say version control, the version control is a way we track changes that we make to our files over time. So when we say track changes, when we have maybe a Power BI file, or let's even say any kind of file now. Let's not maybe we should not even relate to Power BI yet, so that everybody might even understand what we are saying. So when you make changes to a file, let's take a look at your Word document. Your Word document that is stored on a OneDrive, right, or in a SharePoint folder. Sometimes you open the file, you probably add in more content, or you probably maybe remove something from the file. Maybe you delete a paragraph. Maybe you add something. All of those things, right? You make a lot of changes on the file, and you will see that for one maybe for Excel online, for example, Excel on SharePoint, you see something like uh, a place where you'll be able to go to different versions, right, of that file. You'll be able to see the changes that was made, the time and the date, right, that those changes were, applied on that file, right? In fact, if it is a file that is shared with other people, you'll be able to see, you'll be able to see, uh, who made the changes on the file. So version control also in the context of Power BI and Microsoft Fabric is being able to track changes that have been applied to your Power BI, right? So your Power BI solution or to your Fabric items, right? You've been able to see what happened, who made it happen, and if you need to overwrite something, if you need to go back to previous version of the state of a file, you can do that with version control. So version control is just the way we track the changes that have been made to our files. Okay, let's go ahead. And why is it important? We live in a world of automation, and automation skill is one important skill that one needs to have as a data professional. Whether you are on the Power BI side of things, being a Power BI developer, or whether you are on the Microsoft Fabric part of things, which is either the data engineer part or the analytics engineering part, right? It's important for us to know all of these advanced skills or be aware of these advanced topics because these are the kind of topics that are going to, set you apart from others who just understand the basics and who has not made any move to go beyond learning the basics. So why is version control important? It's an important skill to add to your resume, right? It's important because it helps you stay organized, right? As a data professional, it protects everyone in the data team from making mistakes, right? And it lets you collaborate safely with other people in your team. Now, you might have been hearing the term Git and GitHub, and you might be wondering, what does that even mean? I thought that the two are the same thing. They are not the same thing, right? So, what is Git? In simple terms, Git is that tool that we use to do version control, right? Git is that tool that makes version control possible. I told you that version control is the way we keep track of changes to our files, right? And what the tool that now makes it possible to track those changes that we have made, sorry guys, that we have made to our files is Git, right? Okay. Now, Git allows us to track the changes that you make to your files, and you can go back to always compare or share the different versions with other people in your team. So, see Git as more of like a time machine, right? As a time machine that lets you track changes made to your project files. Now, what is GitHub? GitHub, on the other side, is a website where you can store your Git projects online. It means that I want you to see GitHub as that cloud platform or a website where all your Git project files that is stored on your local system, on your local computer, on your laptop, on your desktop computer, right? You can also have a copy of that same project file on a cloud, what we call a cloud repository, right? Which is GitHub is a cloud repository, right? We also have Azure DevOps. We are still going to go into that also, and in fact, we are going to be using Azure DevOps for this webinar, for the demo, right? For the practical part of this webinar, we are going to be using Azure DevOps as our cloud repository, right? So that is GitHub for you guys. GitHub is a website where you can store your Git project online. You can work with others. You can collaborate, right? Right. So think of GitHub as that cloud storage. It's not just giving you the cloud storage alone. It's also allowing you to collaborate and work with your team members, right? Now, what is GitHub Desktop? So GitHub Desktop is an application, right, that gives you that simple user interface, right? That simple user interface, right? To use your Git and your GitHub, right? So it means that for GitHub Desktop, you don't need to worry yourself about, oh, I don't know PowerShell scripting. Oh, I don't understand coding. I don't know how to write scripts. So you don't need to worry yourself because GitHub is usually what I'd advise. And so some people will say, oh, they started, with Visual Studio Code, which is actually not bad, right? Visual Studio Code is more advanced than GitHub Desktop in terms of the interface, the usability, the user experience. For beginners, I recommend GitHub Desktop. It's simple to use and it's easy to use GitHub Desktop, especially for beginners. So GitHub Desktop is that application that allows you to make new commits. You can push your changes to the cloud repository. If there's any changes from the cloud repo, you can pull from the cloud repo so that you can have the same updates everywhere. So the files on your cloud repo, the files on your local repo, they have the same updates. They are up to date all round, right? And you can also create branches. I'm still going to explain all that and what it means to create branches, right? Now, what is Power BI project format? What we call PBIP. So you know that there are three major ways of saving your Power BI desktop file. You have the general one, the most popular one, which is the Power BI file, your PBIX. We have what's the other one? Power BI. I've forgotten the second one. Sorry, guys, I forgot the second one. If somebody knows it, you can put it on the chat section for me. We have PBIP, right, which is the Power BI project file format. So your PBIX, the one you use to publish your report and all those things, right? Your PBIX file, you cannot do version control with that because uh, you cannot use Git to track changes in that per se, right? I'm still going to talk about some other part of some, going into more in depth of these things, right? But um, to actually, you know, to actually have that opportunity to be able to track changes in the different parts of your report, it's always the best practice is for you to save it as a Power BI project file, right? That will be able to it will help you help you separate your Power BI reports into readable files, readable formats, right? You will see something like your .json, your .txt, your .pbip, your model.beam, and all of those parts that makes up your Power BI project file. You see everything. It makes it so saving your Power BI work as PBIP will allow you to allow Git to be able to track the changes, collaborate with other people, and manage your version control within Power BI. Now, what is Azure DevOps? Azure DevOps 2 is a cloud platform, just like we have GitHub, right? uh, where you can create repository. So when we say repository, it's like a folder. It's like a folder that has a copy of your project files, just like the way you have it in your just the way you have it in your local repo, which is a folder on your own laptop, on your own system, on your own local computer, right? So Azure DevOps give us the opportunity to open to create repositories where we can store and host our project files. You can manage project history. You can review your code. A very interesting part of things. You can review your code, right? It supports Git and same foundation version control, right? Let's go ahead, guys. Now, what is repository? You've been hearing the word repo. You've been hearing the word repo, and you want to understand what it means. When we say repository, when we say repo, what does it even mean? So a repository is a folder where you store your project files and you can also track the changes. version control is possible, right? Version history can be stored with the help of Git. So Git is like the one working behind the scene that is making that file to for that is making it possible for us to track changes rather, right? In these are project files. So your repo usually contains this like your .pip, your .json, your .py, your .text, and all of those kind of different files, right? And it also contains what we call a git .ignore, right? You see some git.ignore files. We are going to also go into that. So think of your repo as that's your smart project folder that remembers every changes that you have made to your project file. Now we now have local repo and we have cloud repo. Now the cloud repo is the version of your project that lives inside your computer, that is stored on your own computer. You create it at the start of a project and you clone it, or you either clone it from the cloud. So you either clone an existing repo from a cloud from a cloud platform like the GitHub and the Azure DevOps, right? Or you create one and you push it to the cloud, to the cloud platforms, the cloud repository, right? So an example is that when you're working on your Power BI reports and the Power BI file is on your local computer, the folder where you stored that can be referred to as your local repository, right?
Mama, let me
Sorry,
leave my
there's some noise at the background.
my boyfriend. You leave my
Please, can
brother.
you mute yourself, please? Okay.
Go on.
A cloud repo, on the other hand, as I said it earlier, is your project files that lives on the internet. Platforms like GitHub, Azure DevOps, and your GitLab. You can push the changes you made from your local repo to the cloud repo, and you can also pull updates from your cloud repo down to your local repo. Right? Why is it that these two guys they matter? Local repo and cloud repo. They matter because you edit um, and test in your local repo, you back up, you collaborate and share in your cloud repo. So this setup will give us the best experience, for safety, history, and for teamwork. What is a commit? A commit is like when you are saving a snapshot of your work. So my name is Gbenga, right? And I'm a Power BI developer in my team. And I added a new measure to my Power BI model, right? And I saved the Power BI file. When I save the Power BI file, my GitHub desktop would show in the interface that I made a change to my project file, to my Power BI file. And it will tell me that I made a change. You show me that I made a change rather. And I can commit when I commit that change, I give that change a name that added sales profit margin, blah 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 measure, right? And I commit that change. I will now push that change. That commit that change that I added, right? In terms of the version history, I push it to my I push it to the cloud repo, and the cloud repo will have the same update as what I'm doing locally. So that's snapshot. That thing that we do when we make changes and we commit it. It's like a snapshot of the work. It's like stage one, I did this. Stage two, I did it. So for every stage you are committing and you are giving that your commit a name to say that I fixed this, I adjusted this, I added this, I removed this. When you do all of those changes, you commit when you make those changes, you now commit and say. So committing is like you are saving it and giving it a name, right? That's the simplest way I can explain commit. So it's the one that will record the changes that you have made, when and why. You can even add a message to it and say, after giving the name of the commit, you now write a short message and say, I added this in order to blah blah blah, right? Before you push the commit, before you save the commit and you push it to your cloud repository, right? You can put a comment, in your comment. So you commit to your local repo. Sometimes, most times, depending on how you are doing it though, You can commit to your local repo and you push it there, and you can also make a commitment in can also commit rather in your cloud repo, and you pull whatever you've done in your cloud repo, you pull it down to the local repo so that they can have the two of them can have the same updates. What is push? So after you commit your changes in your local repo, you now push the changes to your cloud repo, right? You push so that your cloud repo too can upload and save the latest changes that you've made. Now, if you also make changes on your cloud repo also, you can also pull it to your local repo at the same time. It's like you're downloading the latest version of whatever you have in your shared project file on your cloud repo. So in summary, commit happens locally. It's when you save a snapshot of your work with a message. Push happens from local to cloud. You send your local commits to the cloud, and pull happens when you bring other updates from the cloud. Now let's move to, oh, sorry about that, guys. Let's move to Azure DevOps, right? As I said earlier, Azure DevOps is a cloud platform where we can collaborate all our project files, and everybody can make changes to the project files, and we can, all see the changes. We can see what's going on, blah, blah, blah. You can see who made the change, when was it published, all of those things, right? Um, the first thing is that before we even start using Azure DevOps, we need to create what is called an organization, right? If you don't do that, you are not going to be able to have, your project inside of it, and you have your repo, right? So the first thing is to create organization. The second thing is to create the projects. The projects can be private, it can be public, depending on your organization policies that will determine. But I believe for enterprise, you cannot, it's not possible for you to make your repo public. It doesn't make any sense. You can't even do that for data protection. You can't make your projects public. So it has to be in private mode, right? The next thing is that we are going to initialize a main branch. It means that when you make the first commit, you are going to have what is called a main branch, right? So you can either put all your commits on that main branch, or you create different layers of branches with different layers of changes, right? So you initiate main branch with either a README or a Git ignore. Don't worry about this big concept. They are very simple to understand. Though. Forget the grammar, right? And you can also clone. We're also going to clone Azure DevOps repo to our local repo, either using HTTPS or what we call secure shell, which is SSH, right? Um, why is it important for us to first create organization in Azure DevOps before we even start anything? Now, that organization, eh, see it as the way you see your Power BI or your Fabric workspace, where you can have your lake house, you can have your data warehouse, your data flow gen 2, your notebooks, your everything, all your Fabric items, or see it as a Power BI workspace in Power BI service that has all your semantic model, your data flow, that has your report itself, right? So before we do anything, for example, now in Power BI service, before we publish a report, we have to first create a workspace, right? Because it's that workspace that will host the report, that will host the semantic model, right? So that's the way it is in Azure DevOps for organization too. You create an organization, right? It's like a container that has all your projects, all your repo, all your pipeline, your users and permissions, your boards and backlogs, and every other thing. They are going to be inside the organization, right? So see it as a workspace where you can contain all your, you know, all your cloud repo stuff, right? So we must create a organization first, because without it, you can't create a project. Without it, you can't create a repo or a pipeline. Without it, you can't even invite a team member, right, to be able to view that repo. And you can't set security or permissions without you first creating organization. So what happens when you clone a repo at a project level without a main branch? You also have to have a main branch. That's important. It's very important, because that will be that's the default branch. Mm? Different branch that you will initially have when you make your first commit, right? So you cannot clone a repo without the main branch first initialized. That's what we're going to first do, right? It's going to give you an error, and you see something like fatal repository does not have any commit yet, right? Because Git needs at least one commit to create a default branch. Until that happens, there's nothing to clone. It is technically empty. You can't interact with it from your local machine. So let's go ahead, guys. So there are two ways to clone a cloud repo to a local repo in Azure DevOps. You can use the HTTPS or the SSH, which is called the secured shell, right? You can use any of these two. But for a beginner, it's simple to use HTTPS because that is simple to use. All you need is a username and a personal access token, right? What we call PAT, right? The only thing is that at every time you need to always prompt for logins. It's good for beginners. It's good uh, for automation. You need to always put your access token at every time. In terms of prosy, firewall, HTTPS is good. Um, Secured shell on the other hand is more complex. You need SSH key pair for prompt login. Very rare. For this one, it's not really user beginner friendly. For secured shell, you need some level of guidance. For automation, is good. It's when you log in once. There's no need for repeated access login or whatever. So if you're a beginner, use HTTPS. If you are a developer, advanced user, use SSH. If you want to automate pipelines, right? Although the scope of our demo today does not cover automating pipelines, sorry about that. But maybe when uh, Mr. Ojo invites me, maybe another time I can do a demo on Azure DevOps pipelines, right? Which is something that is very, very interesting for data validation, right? Okay, so our Power BI project file, the PBIP, it enables us to be able to do version control. Uh, I will tell us how. I'm going to show you how you can save your PBIs as a PBIP. I'm going to show that to you guys. Uh, so for GitHub desktop, we are going to clone Azure DevOps repo. We'll make changes. We'll push to origin. Blah blah blah. But don't worry about that. So that is the end of my slide. Let's now move to. Uh, can you still see my screen, guys?
Yes, 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 yes.
Sorry, what are you seeing at the
Yes,
moment?
it is.
What
Your
are you seeing
screen,
now?
your main
Your
screen.
wallpaper.
Yeah,
That's some like a mountain, something like that, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
thank you. I want to be sure that I've been sharing the right screen since. Okay. So now let's move into the practical parts while we are actually here. Some people are really, I know some people will be like, please stop all this grammar. Let's move to the major thing. All these ones, no, it doesn't concern me. But the truth of the matter is that those basics too are, they're very, very important. That's just it. So as I said earlier, that's in the one important thing, let me move this one to this place. Okay, the one important thing for us is to that we are going to do at first is to first create what we call an organization. Just like a container, right? A container that will help us, to put in all our projects and stuff there. So I'll create an organization as the first thing I'm going to do. Getting started with Azure DevOps, I click on continue. What name do I want to use? I'm okay with demo 331, and I'm going to enter this just to make sure that I'm not AI. I am a human being, a real human being, right? I'm going to click on continue, and it's creating my organization for me. And wait for a few seconds while that is loading, and now it will take me to another page where I'm going to name my projects. So I need to enter the password. Just hold on for me, guys. It's asking me for the password. Oh, sign in with another account. Sorry, not this one. Just hold on for me, guys.
I think you can just click that.
Sorry.
I said you can just click that. Yeah.
Clicking it, but I don't know why. That's why I have to start typing by myself.
I
But I think it's
think.
working now. Yes, it's working now. Yeah. Okay, guys. So the next thing is after creating my organization, I'm creating my project name. So I'll call my project name MCT Niger Demo, right? It's Niger Demo. And by default, self, my visibility is a private. So I don't have that. You can't. It doesn't even make sense for enterprise solutions to be putting it on public because it's your company's data and data has to be protected. So I've named my project MC Niger Demo. I'm going to click on create project. A new project will be created, right? And now I am in my project page. So if you look at the project page, you see overview, summary, dashboards, wiki, boards, repo, pipelines, test plan, and artifacts. But I don't even need all these things to do what I need to do. The one I need for now is just my repo, right? Is my repo. I'll click on my repo. Now, when I click on repo, right? Some people say, oh, now that I've clicked on repo, the next thing that I probably need to do is to clone. You cannot even clone anything yet, guys. You need to first create the main branch. You need to first initialize your main branch where you are going to be committing all your changes, where you'll be pushing all your commits, right? So I'm going to now initialize a main branch with a readme file, right? I can also decide to add a gis.ignore file or add any other file here. But let me just ignore this part for now. I'm assuming that this class is a beginner class. I don't want to go into things that are too advanced. So let me just make it very simple for us. Don't forget that the essence of why we are here today is for us to learn that it is possible for three developers to work on one Power BI file. It is possible for us to collaborate in our Microsoft Fabric items, right? We'll make changes and we are able to track when the changes was made, who made the changes. So don't forget the reason why we are here, right? So anything we are doing after at the back of our mind that we are creating solution that can enhance collaboration, right? So I'm going to click on initialize, right? So that has created my so let me close this one. That has created my main branch. So look, if you go to this part here, you will see main branch, which is your default branch, where you will commit all your changes. You can create new branch, but if time permits us, I'm going to show us how to do that. Now that we have created our main branch, we have our repo, our project, our organization created. The next thing for us is to clone. So by default, we already have a README file, right, inside of our main branch, right, inside of our repo, our cloud repo. So where we are now is the cloud repo, right? So the only file we have now is a readme.md file. Now we are going to clone. Now I'm going to click on clone. Now, when I click on clone, what I discussed with you guys about in the theory part that I said there are two options, secure shell and HTTPS. So you can click on HTTPS, right? That one is simple to use for a beginner. It's beginner friendly, and you can use secure shell. Now, when you click on HTTPS, right? You are going to see something here called generate Git credentials. So sometimes, let me tell you this, I had an error when I was learning about this thing first time. And the error was that it wasn't generating Git credentials for me. So if you face that kind of problem, how do you solve that? So what you will do is this: you have to go and do a settings in your organization settings. That settings, you go to the Azure DevOps, or you go to your uh, organization name here, and you will see organization settings. In case it's not allowing you to generate Git credential that you will use to clone to your local repo. So you click on organization settings like this, and you will go to policies, right? Under your policies, you are going to see something like restrict personal access token. Sometimes your settings in your organization can switch it on, and when it is being switched on, now let us now go back. Let me duplicate this tab. Now, if I now go back to this my project file, I go click on my organization, I click on the project, and I click on my repo. Now, if I now go to clone and I click on generate credential, it's giving me an error message, right? So in case when you are doing it for the first time and you see this kind of error message, all you need to do is to go back to your organization settings and go to under security, go to policies, right? And switch off the restrict personal access token. When you switch off that and you go back again and you do a refresh in your repo, your cloud repo, you are going to be able to now generate keys credentials. This is that part clear to us before we go ahead? If it's not clear, please let me know so I
So
can
someone
explain
has
it.
a question. Arinze asked a question.
Okay, I will not be able to see you ask question until I go to the Zoom this
Yeah,
thing. Okay,
Arinze. So can you speak now?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Gbenga. Good evening,
thank you,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, I would like to also say that I've been following you from last year. I mean, when I saw
Okay,
this
sir.
on the Young Data Professional Group, I decided to jump into it. And Mr. Tosin, thank you very much for these opportunities you have been creating for us to learn. The first question, I have like three questions, but let me just run down through it.
Okay, sir.
I want to know if this Azure DevOps is you have to pay for it before starting, because PowerBI service currently my organization we have to use premium, and you have to pay for all of these services before it's not free
Yeah.
before starting the operations and all of that. So I don't know how Azure DevOps is being operated, because you are saying Azure DevOps is preferable to GitHub itself, because I know GitHub is free. So I don't know how free Azure DevOps
Okay.
is.
So let me quickly
Then
answer that. So Azure DevOps
okay,
has a free they call it a free tier, right? For individuals
okay,
and when you are working in a very small team, right?
oh,
They will allow at least 5 users for free, right? That is
yeah,
for the
yeah,
free version. But if you want to go beyond the free version, there's a subscription and a pay per use option, right? For larger
mhm,
organization and more advanced teams. So the thing is that I might not be able to tell you much about the subscription part of things because I'm not into 365 administration and all of those, but that's just the little knowledge I know. That for if you're working in an organization that has I think like has some level of Microsoft subscription, you can use it for
mhm.
free for the first 5 users. But if you want to go beyond that, I think there's a pay per use option.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
Azure DevOps is more like a cloud platform, just like AWS and
Yeah,
GCP.
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Okay,
Where you can
okay,
store
okay.
your local
Now I get.
files. You can
Yeah,
store
I
your
get it.
you can push your local files to Azure DevOps.
Okay, I get it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So the second one is,
Yeah.
apart from SQL having to import data into your SQL server before pushing it. Microsoft has a way of keeping you in bound of their product. Maybe they will
Okay.
not want you to go outside. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you
They
clearly,
will
sir.
not. Yeah, yeah. So they will not want you to move outside their platform, right? They
Okay.
have a way of protecting. Like if you check Power BI desktop, they have this way of making you to use direct query. If you want to use large file, the only
Mm.
database you can use for direct query is Microsoft Server and SQL Server, right? So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know
Mm-hmm.
if there's a restriction on the kind of database, the kind of DBMS you want to explore. So, for instance, you're using MySQL, you're using Postgres, and you want to do this this
Okay.
um this stuff,
Okay. I
virtual
think I
control.
understand where you're going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
version control, sorry. So
Mm.
is there any restriction to that?
No. So in terms
Okay.
of databases that you can use, or RDBMS that you can use rather, there is no restriction. What matters is what you have on your Power BI. It doesn't matter. The source does not matter. Whether your data source is a Microsoft is on the Microsoft side or is on another side. What we are dealing with here in version control is that any changes that happen to your Power BI file or your Fabric item in your Fabric workspace, being able to track it. So it doesn't matter the source where the data is coming from. Do you understand now, Arinze?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah. So that is
perfectly.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
And you must have to install Git before anything,
Yeah,
I
you
guess.
have to install Git. Yes, I will also show.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I didn't talk about that
Okay.
part. Sorry, guys. I was trying to be very fast. So you need to
Okay.
install Git. You need to install GitHub Desktop, right? You need to install GitHub Desktop, and I think those are the two things you need to install locally. Yeah, yeah. Those are two things. So you download GitHub Desktop, and install. So maybe I'm going to do a video, probably on my YouTube channel, where I'm going to show you how to install the GitHub Desktop and Git. I can send that to Tosin after the section. Thank you. Let's go ahead, please, so we can be very fast. Okay, so now that I've shown you how to initiate your clone, so you click on clone and you click on this link, you will generate the password and the username, right? So the next thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to open my GitHub Desktop. This is my GitHub Desktop here. This is my setup file for GitHub Desktop. I'm going to open the GitHub Desktop. I will open the GitHub Desktop. I'll open the GitHub Desktop. Good. And I'm going to clone. To clone, I'll go to File on my GitHub Desktop. Please, can you see my GitHub Desktop, guys? Can you see
Yes.
my GitHub Desktop?
Mm,
Okay, good.
yes, we
So
can see it.
you see that the current repo that I am currently on is I have these three ones there, but that's not the one I'm connecting to. I want to connect to a new one. So I'll click on clone repository. I'm cloning. Cloning means that you are, bringing a copy of what you have online to your local system. So I click on clone repository, and I'm going to click on URL, right? And I'm going to paste that link. I'm going to paste it here, the one from my Azure DevOps, and I'm going to create, you know, um, oh, this one is on my desktop. But let me go and I can choose a file here where I want to store my stuff. I can go to my GitHub, my desktop. I can create a new folder. I click on new here, new folder, and I will call it MCT Niger, CT Niger demo, right? And I enter, and I'm going to select this folder that I just created so that anything I clone from my local repo will come inside of this folder. So I select this folder, right? And I'll click on clone. I will click on clone. And it's going to ask me for the password. So for the password, I have to now go to this one and copy the password here. And I'll go back to my GitHub desktop and paste the password. And I'm going to click on OK. And whatever I have in my cloud repo will come to my local repo. So just wait for a few seconds for the cloning exercise to be complete. I don't know why it should not be this slow anyway. Let's wait for more. Let's wait for a few seconds. Perfect. Now we are connected to the local, to our cloud repo, right? And when we make changes now, we are going to see how the changes is going to, how everything is going to. So let's start. Now we have cloned what we have, but you will not see it here too. Let me show you. Let me show you. So I'll click on desktop and MCT Nigeria demo. You know that readme file. You see now that we have in our Azure DevOps is now we now have it here now. So let's now say I'll now create a new file. You know I cloned from cloud to local. Let's say I now create a new file now. Let's say I create. Let me just find one thing to create. Maybe like an Excel worksheet, and I just name it Excel file for demo. And I press enter. Excel file for demo. There's nothing in the Excel file. It's it's empty. Now I've created this was not in the original folder here, right? Because when I clone from cloud, the only thing that came from cloud is this readme file, right? But now I created an Excel file. I put an Excel file inside my local repo. My cloud repo will not automatically have it, right? So when I go back to my GitHub desktop now, it's telling me that I added a file, Excel file for demo. It's showing it here now. You see now, it's showing that I have a file, right? Now, I will now, it's like if I'm saving that change. That's when we do commit. So my commit now, I will now type it here. I will say added Excel file. I'll put a description. This description part is optional anyway. You can write something there, and if you don't want to, you can ignore that part. It's optional. And I will now commit it. Commit now. Don't forget that when we are committing any changes, it's going to be committing it to the main branch, right? So I'm going to click on commit one file to main. Now, when I committed that file to main is my default branch. Now, for my cloud repo to now have the updated version of my local repo, I will now have to push origin. Well, click on push origin. And if I now go back to my Azure DevOps repo now, if I go back to my Azure DevOps repo now, and I refresh this page, I'm going to see the Excel file there. See it now. The Excel file I created in my local repo, that I committed the changes in my local repo, and I pushed it to origin, which is the main branch. I can now see the same Excel file inside of my cloud repo. Now, what does that imply, guys? What that implies is that if I have another Power BI developer, right, and I probably go to my user settings and I go to permissions and I add the person to this repo, the person can also clone this repository, just the way I did the other time. The person can also do what? The person can also clone it on their own local repo too. And all the Power BI files in there, all the model.bin file, all the JSON file, everything that makes up your Power BI project file, they will also have the same copy, just like you do. They also have the same copy of what you have. So when that's your second Power BI developer, the second guy, on the project. When the guy to clones the repo, right? You can be the first developer. You first do the first clone. You make changes to the Power BI file. You push it to Azure DevOps. The person too, on the other end, the second developer too, will also clone this repo. And if you are pushing changes, the person will also be able to push down the changes to their own local repo too. And if the second developer or the third or the fourth or the fifth guy in the project also make changes, he can also push the changes to the main branch. And the first developer, the person in the middle, the fifth guy, everybody will see what each other, each will all see what we are all doing. Like every changes that everybody is making, it will be clear, glaring, and everybody will see it. Although for Azure DevOps Repo, there's also a data governance part of things when it comes to us determining who is going to approve the new changes. So there's sometimes that conflicts can happen. Conflicts can happen. Imagine that two developers are writing the same measure and they are pushing it at the same time. It will cause conflicts, right? So that's why you need to assign somebody who is going to be the one approving all the changes that you are making to either your fabric items or your Power BI project file. So if I'm the second developer too, all I will just do is to copy this place, copy this link after getting access to this repo, copy the link, generate the credentials, and clone the same way I just did few minutes ago, right? Now you see that. So let's now say in this my cloud repo now. So my readme file, let's say I edit the file and I had more stuff. Let me just put one jargons there. Just an example. Mhm. And I commit it. I can revert it, I can commit it. So let's say I commit, right? What will I say I did? Updated the readme file. You can call it any name. The branch that you're committing this to is the main branch, right? And I commit these changes on my cloud repo now, which is my Azure DevOps repo. I commit this, right? The jargons I put there now is now part of it, right? Now you can look at the history, you can compare. So this was what I had before initially. This is the new line that you see that the new line I added is showing green. Can you see this? Can you see that this one is very interesting, guys?
Yeah.
Can you see it, guys?
Yes.
I can compare, right? Initially, I had just 20, is it rows or line? What should I call it? But now it's telling me that this is the initial readme file. Oh. This is the way it looks like. This is now the way the new one looks like. Did you understand, guys? Look at the you can look at the history of that file. You can see that I was the one that made the change. If it was another person that made the change, it will show the name of the person. Look at it. It's even telling you the time. Oh my! I love this version control. It's even telling me the time. All right, that change was made. It's telling me the change type is edit. This one is add. You added. This one is edits. Right. This one is what? Edits. Right. Okay. So this to show you an example. So if it's your Power BI file too, or your fabric item too, this is the way you're able to track the changes. Oh, developer A added this at last week. Okay, you were the one that did this, make these changes. Okay, you'll be able to track all those changes, right? That's the interesting part, guys. So preview is this one. You'll see the file, you see the contents, you will see the history. You can able to compare the previous version with the latest version. And if you need to, well, I've not used this blame part before anyway. I don't know what this blame is about, sincerely, but I know it's maybe it has to do with maybe I don't know. I don't know. Still, don't let me see what I don't know. Let me see what I don't know. But I know compare, I know history, preview, and content. Now let's go to where we are here today. Now that we understand the basics of version control, we understand the basics of Azure DevOps repo, local repo to cloud repo to local repo. Now let's not go for this one. Let's go for let's go for let's open a this is Power BI file I'm going to be using. So I'm going to open the Power BI file. I'm going to be opening the Power BI file, right? So let's wait for the Power BI file to open, and you will see my reports. You will see the report I created in this file. At any point, if something is not clear to you, please just tell me. Go back and re-explain. So I'm gonna remove this one. I don't need other files before. So can you all see my Power BI report now, guys?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Tosin. So I'm going to. So this is my Power BI reports that I created in this file. I don't want to publish this yet. So I'm going to I'm going to hold on for me, guys. I'm going to probably so for me to save this file as a project file, I will go to my file. I will first go and check my settings, options and settings. I'll go to options. When I get to options, I'm going to go to preview. Here's the preview. My eyes is going left and right. Okay. And you will see this one here. Power BI project save option. Store project using enhance. So make sure you check this one. Make sure you check it, right? Or else you are not going to be able to save it as in PBIP format. It's going to be in PBIX, right? Then when you ensure that, then you can now go to file and you save as, and you come to browse this device, and you go to that folder that you created, the MCT data, the MCT Nigeria demo folder. You will go in there, and instead of saving it as the default PBIX that we all know, you save it as PBIP. The other one here is the Power BI templates format. To change, you will save it as PBIP, right? Say the name of the file is sales version control, and you can now save it to that folder. You will save this your PBIX as PBIP. Wonderful. Now we have saved it, right? When you go here now, you see that it has changed to what? PB PBIP, the Power BI project file. So the original Power BI file is still there. Oh. It's not affected. Oh. You understand, guys? It's still there where it is. But you have saved it as now. What does it look like when you save a Power BI file as a PBIP file? What does it even look like? Right? I will show you what it looks like. So this see what it looks like now. You now have your PBIP, the report itself. You have your README, the one. Oh, this is the one that came in with the one with the initially one we did. You see the gig dot ignore, gig dot ignore. You see your semantic model dot beam, the JSON file, all of so this now they are readable files. When it's in PBIX, it's not readable, but when it's in PBIP now, it has now separated it to different readable files for you. So this is what you will now see in the folder. This is the report folder, the definition, the dot platform, different kind of file formats that you will now see here now. When you save it as what? As a Git, what am I saying? Sir? When you save it as PBIP, sorry. So let's now say, sorry, can you see hear me, guys?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So when you now do this, you now open your PBIP file. This file is still like your normal PBIX file, right? Right? Aha. So you can now open this now. You can open this report. Oh, it's already open. Save. Why am I? Sorry, I already have it here. Right? When I saved. So let's now say I want to create. So okay, before I even do that, I have to go back to my. You see now, this one is telling me that you have made changes, so you have different files now. So I have to commit this one now, and I give the commit a name, and I'll say added Power BI file, and I'm going to commit it. And when I commit it, I will push it to my Azure DevOps repo. I'll push origin. Desktop is unable to commit to this branch because there are commits on the remote that are not present on your local. Oh, okay. I understand what's going on here. I understand what's going on here. I made a change to my readme file the other time. So let me first fetch that change. Let me bring the change to my local repo, right? So I'm going to bring the change. It's fetching it online, and you are seeing that I made one change. So I'm going to pull from what I have on my cloud repo. I'm going to pull, right? And now I have the same changes. After I've done that, now I'll be able to push the new changes that I've made. I'll be able to push that now to my cloud repo. So I first fetched, then I'm pushing now to cloud repo. So when I go back to my Azure DevOps, when I go back to my Azure DevOps and I refresh this page, you will now see all the Power BI project file that I saw the other time. The git.ignore file, the Power BI file itself, the semantic model folder, and the report folder. You will see everything now because I've pushed it, right? You see now that both my cloud repo and my local repo, they have the same updates, right? So after I've done this, now I will now go and make changes to that my Power BI file. So let me create a new measure. Let me create a new measure. I will come here and calculation table. I'll create a new measure. And when I create the new measure, I'm going to call it sales 2. I have sales 2. Sales 2 will now be equals to sales 2 will now be equals to sales 2 will now be equals to the sum of the sales column. I don't know what column I can use. Let me just use this. Okay. I have one sales column. Yeah. The sum of sales column in the sales table, and I commit, right? After committing, I save the file, right? And I go back to my, the one tracking the changes is the GitHub desktop that's helping you to know that is telling you that you made changes. So I will now add it here. I will say added sales 2 measure. Added what? Sales 2 measure, right? And I will click on commit. I've saved it by making commit. Then I'll push it back again to the cloud repo. When I go back to my cloud repo and I open my model.bin file, that's where this one holds the structure of your data model. And I refresh and I search, control find. And I look at sales 2. Sales 2 is not the one I'm looking for. Aha. This is the new measure that I just created. Eh? You see that under your model.bin file. This is the new measure that I just created. Let's now see. So now the good thing about this is that the moment your second developer that are on the same projects, the same Power BI project together, by the time the guy too opens his own, you made the changes in your local repo, you pushed it to origin, you pushed it to the main branch in your Azure DevOps repo. The guy too, when he opens his own GitHub desktop, it's also going to see that changes have happened on the project file in his in Azure DevOps repo, and the guy too can also click on fetch, and the changes that you have made and you have pushed, the guy will be able to also fetch it and also download the same latest project file on his own local folder too. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys?
Yeah.
Is it clear, everyone?
Yeah.
That's the interesting part of it. Now let's now say this is my sales too, and now let's say I now want to edit it. Let me look for another column that I can use. I'm not doing the editing here. I'm doing the editing inside of my Azure DevOps. So let's say where's my sales table, guys? I have one column called actual sales a month. Where is that column? Aha, actual sales a month. So let's now say I now want to go and change that. No, it's not supposed to be sales. It's supposed to be actual sales a month. I will now click on edit here. I will now click on edit. I will now go back here and change this column name that I was referencing in my measure. I now change it to actual sales, actual sales per month. Let me look at the name of that stuff, verify. So I type it the way it is, actual sales a month, capital A here. I don't know whether this thing is actually whether it is caps. I don't know whether I'm not sure, but let me just put it the way it is. So it's now actual sales a month, like this, right? Then I now commit the change. So I will now say I updated sales to measure, right? For so that when I commit it, other developers will now know, when they now fetch from their own GitHub desktop, they will now their Power BI file also in their own local folder, in their local repo, will now have this measure to be equals to sum of sales of the actual sales column, right? And then I commit, right? I commit now. Then when I go back to my what's it called? When I go back to my what do I call it? When I go back to my GitHub desktop, right? You see now that when I click on that measure, that commit, it's telling me that the expression before was what? Sum of sales, sum of what? Sales, what's it called? Sum of sales column in sales table is now sum of actual sales column in sales table. Now, if I go to my and I fetch, I have to click on this fetch origin. You see that it is telling me that there's one change that has happened in my cloud repo. And for me to commit it, I need to pull it, right? So let me close this Power BI file. Let me close it. And should I save? I can save, but I will ignore the save that I did. Right? And then I now pull it. I pull. Now, when I open my Power BI file again, if I open that file again, and I now go to that measure, I'll see that measure changed. So it means that if all the developers in the project team they pull from they pull from the cloud repo and they pull it inside their local repo, everybody will have the same information all through in their local repo, in their local folder. So everybody will now see that when they open Power BI and they now go to the sales to measure, eh, they will see that sales 2 has now changed from sum of sales table to sum of the actual. You see it now. It has now changed. Sorry, I want to expand it so you can see very well. You see now, it has changed here too. Do you now see how interesting it is now, guys? Does it make sense to you? So one person made the change. The person pushed the change to the local repo from local to cloud. The other developers can fetch and pull the changes to their own too. When they also open the file, they will see that the sales to measure is no more actual sales. It's no more sales column again. It's now referencing the actual sales amount column. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear?
Yes, I believe it's clear.
Okay, I would like to hear their responses so that I don't know whether it's interesting to them.
Yeah. So, guys, please comment. So that will help us to be sure that you guys are
Yeah,
following.
You guys understand
yeah,
what we are saying?
is a bit clear. I'm worried about the visuals.
What's the issue with the visuals?
So is there no way you can like change the visuals and it appears, or you push after changing the visuals and it appears on
Of
the other
course,
end?
you can. It's not only by changing, by editing your measure or by anything you do in your Power BI file. So
Okay.
if I had a new what was it called now? A new visual,
Oh, yeah.
eh,
Oh,
and I save the file, my GitHub desktop will show that I've made the changes in my local repo. I will push it to the cloud repo. When your other colleague, like you're in the office together, the guy will open his own GitHub desktop too, and he will see that, and he will click on fetch origin. Do you understand? The other your other colleague in the office
Yes.
will click on fetch origin, and the guy will see that they've made the changes from the cloud repo, and he will also pull. When he pull and opens his own Power BI file too, he will also see the new visual that you've added. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
So
I understand perfectly.
anything that you are doing, right? Or anybody among your colleagues, anything they are doing, so far they push it and you are fetching and pulling, everybody will have the same updated file from time to time. Is it clear, sir? Let's now
Perfect,
go
sir.
to let's now go to
Perfect.
Microsoft Fabric. So version control, how does it relate to Microsoft Fabric? We are also going to, so now you understand the part of the Power BI part. Let's now go to Fabric. What account is this? Let me sign out. Okay, it's the same as the account. So I have some workspaces here. I have a workspace here, Gbenga demo workspace, where I have different items. I have different items, right? Should I do it here or do it on a new workspace? Okay. Let me just create a new workspace then. Let me create a new workspace, and I'll call this workspace MCT Niger Demo. Right? Advanced. Why is it on Pro? Oh, it's on trial now. Okay, good. Because I'm using the trial account. Small semantic model storage is okay. Then I can apply. So I've created a new workspace now. a new Fabric workspace. Now, for me to integrate what I already have on the Azure DevOps to this place, I'm going to click on workspace settings, right? And I will see Git integration. I'll click on Git integration, and I'll click on Azure DevOps. If I'm hosting it on GitHub as my cloud repo, I'll click on GitHub. If I'm hosting it on Azure DevOps, I can click on Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps is already showing my accounts, my active Azure Active Directory account. This is this email, and I'm going to click on connect. Organization is the demo 0231, the one I created when I was starting the Azure DevOps. The project is the MCT Nigeria demo project, right? The Git repository MCT Nigeria demo, and the branch is the main branch by default. The Git folder, I can leave that one, and I click on connect and sync. So whatever you have on that, your Azure DevOps will now sync into this your workspace. You see it now. You're going to see it now. Wonderful. It's still loading, guys. There's more that will come. It's still syncing. It's still syncing. It's still syncing. Good. So now you see that the Power BI file, the Power BI report file that you have on your DevOps, without even you be the one to publish the reports from your Power BI desktop, you already see it appear here in your Fabric workspace. Here. The report, the thematic model is already here. So if I click on the report now, I will see the reports. Did I have to publish from Power BI desktop myself? No. Oh, I don't know why this is not showing anyway. I'm so sorry about this. I don't know why it's bringing this error. But the main thing, anyway, is for us to, okay, so the expression referenced column, calendar year quarter, which does not hold any data because it needs to be recalculated or refreshed. Okay. So let me go back to what it's saying. It says my calendar in my calendar table. Let me go back to the calendar table and see where the issue is. It says which column? My year quarter column. What's the problem with the column? But the column is showing something, right? Calendar year and calendar quarter is what I did together. I don't know why that error is showing here sincerely, because the column seems to be fine. The column seems to be okay. Let me go back to my base. It's telling me that I made these changes. I can commit, say, year column, year quarter column sorted. I commit this, I push it. When I push it, I can go back to this place. When I go back to my workspace, if I refresh, it's telling me that I've made a change. You see now? It's saying me that I've made a change. You see this source control, right? That I've made a change and I need to commit that change now. Right? There has been an update. So my model, and I'll say click on update all. See that before the update, it's telling you that updates required. It's not showing that it is synced, right? So let me now open this one again. Let's see now if the issue has been resolved. If not, well, I won't be able to resolve that here. But the concept just for it's just for you to understand the concepts. That's the major thing. It's just for you to be able to understand the concept of what we are trying to do here today. So don't worry yourself too much about this one that is not showing properly, right? So you see now that without even without even um, going to my Power BI desktop and doing, how will I even say it? So I can go to my Power BI desktop, make changes, push and pull. I can make changes in my Azure DevOps. So let's say, for example, now in my Azure DevOps, hmm, let me go back to my Azure DevOps. Let's say in my Azure DevOps now, let me go back, repo, model.git file. Let's now say, I can even create a new measure here. Because of our time is fast spent, I will not be able to show you that today. If you are creating a new measure, you can look at all of the measures that are there. For example, this is a measure. All you will do is to do what? Is to go here, copy this measure like this, paste it, press enter to go to the next line, paste it, and you will now change the name of the measure here, change the calculation that you did, and also change data type, and might ignore that one, and probably also you need to change you need to change this lineage tag, because different items in your model.bin file cannot share the same lineage tag. To generate lineage tag, just go to this website, GUID generator. This is the website. Aha. Generate a new UID, copy to clipboard, go back to your model.bin file, and you now paste a new GUID inside of here before you commit it, so that there will not be conflicts, right? There's another one that I need to quickly show you guys. Just hold on for me, guys. I need to show you something. Just give me a minute. That one is the part of the data governance part I told you, that if you want to control who sees what and when, let me do that one as the last thing I'm doing for today, right? For that one, we are going to go to our project settings. So if you want to control who sees, well, who can make the, who can approve. So that one is to control, so that people are not just going to be making commits all the time. There will not be any quality control to it at all. That will be very bad. So what we can do is to go to project settings, yeah, right? Project settings, and we are going to go to, under that, we're going to go to repositories. And for this our projects, we click on the project here, and you scroll down. Is it here? Is it under security? I'm coming, guys. This section here. Why did I forget? Aha! I've seen the place. Oh, let me go back. I'm too forward. Policies. Okay. Is it under policies? Security and approval and checks. No, see, policy. Aha. You now let me go back again. Repository. You click on this repo. You scroll down. No, not here. Under policies here, you will see branch policies. So it means that committing to the main branch, nobody can just do that. Somebody will be the one approving it. Yeah, the person will get approval request. The person will create an approval request, and somebody will now approve. So I'll click on the main branch here for this project, and I will go to automatically included viewers. Now I'll go to plus, and I will add myself as the person that will approve. You can add anybody depending on your team. Who is your guys? It's required, blah, blah, blah. If everything are the way it is, you click on save, right? So if I click here now, I can see that this is the approver. This person that will approve any comments that you made. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So let's now say I made a change. So I'll go back to my repo. Go back to my repo. Let me just go and make one. Uh, what change can I make here? Let me go back to my Power BI file. Let me let me let me change this one from this one to another chart. Aha. And now save it, for example. And this one, I come to my, it's telling me I made a change. Charts, change charts, and I commit and I push. So now this is the problem. If I push to origin, it can give me error message. Aha, thank you. Because now I have done some data governance on my process. It means that you cannot just push like that. So what you need to do is to create uh, a new
Okay.
branch, right? It's a new branch, and you call that one, this one new underscore. You can call it new underscore branch, or you can call it change type, anything you want to call it, change charts, because you made some charts. You create that branch. Now you now publish that branch. You publish that branch that you just created. You publish that one. Now, when I now go back to my Azure DevOps, right? What I will now do is that it's telling me that I updated it. I changed charts, right? That's my new commit. I created a new branch for that. I will now create a pull request. I will now say, I can put the description. I changed sales by segments charts to, okay, from a donut. Abi, I'm correct, right? It's donut chart that I was there for. A donut chart to a column chart. A column chart. And I'm going to create the pull request. There is no conflict. And if I'm the one that is doing the pull request, I'm the approval person. I'll come to pull request here. I will see that somebody wants me to commit that change to the main branch, right? I'm the one in charge, right? I will now click on it. I'll see what the person has done. I will see the file. Oh, you see now the visual type was do not chart before, and now it is clustered column chart. Okay, he changed it. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. He has made the changes. It's fine. Who was the one that made the change? This is my name here. Adeyemo Gbenga Samuel. And I will come here as the approval person. I can decide to reject, say, no, why did you change? I'm rejecting it. I'm not committing that into. So what will happen is that when I reject, it doesn't mean that in the local repo of that person, it will now change back to the do not chart. No, it will still be the new column chart that the person has done. The difference is just that it's not committed to the cloud repo where everybody is collaborating. Is that part clear to everyone? Is that part clear, guys?
Guys, is it clear?
Is it clear before I go ahead?
Feel free to unmute your mic and
Maria, is it clear? Tosin, Oyinlade. my person. Okay,
Túnbọ̀sún Táíwò Yusuf.
okay,
Sir, it's clear, but I stepped out to attend to my baby for a while, but I'm looking forward to the recording of this thing so that I
okay,
can.
okay. No, no, no,
Ah,
no,
okay.
no problem.
You'll be
Yeah.
Thank
available.
you, sir.
So I can
Thank
now
you.
click on approve or approve with suggestions or wait for the. I've not used this one before. Though. Wait for authors. I don't know what this one actually means, but I can click on approve here, right? And I will come here and complete it. I'll click on complete after approving. So that branch, I might not want to be creating more stuff on that branch. And after I've merged the changes to the main branch, I might decide to delete that branch. So if you want to make another change, to keep creating new branches for all the changes that they made, right? And I click on complete merge, and now the changes have been committed to. So if I go to my model dustbin, people the report now, I would see something like that that would show the changes that I've made so far. Guys, I've come to the end of my demo today, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the section. And by the time Mr. Audio publishes the video, you can go back again and watch. Now, to actually master version control uh, for PowerBI and Fabric, you need to actually practice it for you to understand it. If you don't practice it and you just watch the video alone, that will not be enough. You need to watch the video and follow the video step by step, step by step. So let's say, okay, this one is telling me that I made a change. I have to update it as usual. So let's now say I made a change also here in the report. Let's say I edit the report here, right? And let me do something here. Let me bring in the charts, a card chart. Aha. Let me bring in a card chart, and let me just drop this thing there, one measure on top. Don't mind that it's not showing you. I'm sorry about that. Don't just get the concept. That's the main thing. And when I'm done, I now save it, right? I save it and I go back here. It's telling me that I've made a change. The source control is loading, right? Source control is loading, and I want the Azure DevOps to have the latest this thing, right? So it's telling me now that I've made a change to my reports. If I commit it, it might reject the commit. Let's see. It might reject the commit because of the data governance stuff that I've did. So what I will now do in this situation, what do I even do, say for? I can't see it here. Is that I'm supposed to see somewhere I can, I'll go to main branch. This is not what I'm looking for. It's somewhere that I can change it. I can change the branch to, ah, so sorry guys, I don't know where I can see that here. I don't know why I'm not seeing it. See somewhere that I can now create a new branch, right? Updates. Maybe we'll still look at that next. Oh, let me you see here. Okay. I can now, yeah, I can now branch out to another workspace, check out new branch, switch branch. Okay. Then okay, I can come in and create a new branch. Yeah. So I'll create a new branch and I will call this one added new sales to visual. Yeah. And this one will be a new branch. And I'm creating this from the main branch. And I click on create. Oh, maybe the branch name cannot be empty. So hold on for me, guys. Cannot have a space in between. Maybe that's the reason why he's saying all this one. I don't know. I'll click on create. The branch name uses invalid characters. Okay, let me just see added new visual. What's the problem here? Added new visual. Okay. If your report branches, if you switch branches, all items in this workspace will be replaced with the item in the target switch branch. So if I now switch branch, oh my god, a lot of something that we usually do. I don't know why I cannot remember. Right, right. But don't worry, guys. Maybe we'll do that next time. Wanted to show us that we can actually create a new branch and match the new changes to the main branch. But I don't know why I cannot still see that here. So, but guys, I've come to the end of my demo. Thank you so much, Mr. Ojo, for having me. I'm happy to
Oh,
be here
yeah.
some other
Thank you
time.
so much. Thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate you, and thank you guys for joining the call today. I don't know if anybody still have any questions to ask before we end to this session. So if you still have questions today, you are still very much free to ask your question.
Yeah, hello?
You can unmute and ask your question. Okay,
Yeah,
can
thank
you
you very
share
much.
this? Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just want to, if it's possible to share in the WhatsApp group any site that we can get a data project with business case that we can work on Power BI or data analysis. Stuff.
Yes, that's fine. What WhatsApp group are you?
I think there's one that Gbenga has that is
Oh, okay.
one
I
item.
wish he will handle that because I want to be sure it's coming from my end. Yeah. So yeah, I believe Binga can answer that.
Yes, I will share the link with Tosin and I will share with you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So any other question, please?
So mine is more like an appreciation because again I want to also say that Benga is someone all of a sudden if you're looking for a YouTube video, you eventually get to see some of his videos online, and he has been an inspiration to many young data guys out there, even many business intelligence practitioners out there. And when I saw this on a group chat, young data professional, I said, okay, this is actually an opportunity to come and explore and learn, especially the version control thing. From far, I've heard of version control on Power BI. There are cases where you just need to use Power Apps to. That's what I've been doing in the past, using Power Apps to merge three people's push or publish on Power BI service. So, but this is a very better way to treat it. And again, I also had people in the past saying you can share the file, a PBIX file, and someone work on it and publish on the same Power BI service. It works that way, but I've also not tried it. But I think this version control using the GitHub and Fabric part is a more technical part and is very advanced when it comes to the technical part of it. Again, Tosin, I also appreciate. I know you organized the whole of this. This is the first time I'm even meeting Tosin. So thank you very much, Mr. Gbenga.
Thank you, Arinze. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Arinze. Thank you. You said at the end of the day, everybody we are doing is a community project. So Gbenga is trying to give back. I'm also in my own little way trying to give back, and we think the whole idea about this is just to see how we can grow more data professional. We are getting more and more into data every day. We see software engineers coming into data space as data engineers. Seeing so many moving parts nowadays. You now have heavily, in fact, the data space. Let me even say, software engineering today is now more inclined towards data. So you now have data engineers, you have you have DevOps engineer, and all of them, everybody is leaning towards data. And that that we are data professionals, right? Why can't we create a strong community, a strong group to groom people into owning it? So not just being a data analyst, but they can go into understanding DevOps, understanding analytics engineering, understanding data engineering, and so many other things. Whatnot. So that is the mind behind this: is continuous upskilling, continuous development, continuous. I'm not, you know. I don't know, my camera was off. So the idea is to continue to grow the community to a space whereby we become more and more relevant ourselves as data as data professionals. You see, there are so many opportunities in data, and Microsoft is leading it. See, Microsoft has so many products that you can use as data professional. So even from compliance side of things, you have Purview, you have so many products going on every day. You have Microsoft Pilot, you can even if I go into agentic AI, all encompassing all within a Microsoft space. And if Microsoft is doing a lot to groom data professionals. You see, AI machine learning is on everything is basically on data, and we need to, as much as possible, we need to own the space, we need to get in, and we need to own the narrative. Right. So if does anybody have any other question to ask? If in the absence of none, I will say thank you so much to everybody. Thank you for coming on this call today. Thank you so much, Gbenga. I sincerely appreciate you. And congratulations on your MVP once again. That's
you.
a big one. That's a big one, and more and more MVPs.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining this call today, and see you again maybe next week. This is a weekly thing, so we'll see you again next week. Thank you, and I will share the videos. This video shared. Maybe you see it on Instagram. You are from Instagram. You see it on LinkedIn. It's on YouTube, and it's also be sent to your email
So
address.
simply share the YouTube link with me when the video is ready. Some people that wants to join, they could not join, so they are asking me for the YouTube YouTube
Link.
recording.
Okay. I will do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Do that. Thank you
yeah.
so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. See you again. Bye.